Hey guys, welcome back. This is a Heroes Escape with another Heroscape tier list video. Now, I got this idea because I saw people on YouTube doing tier list videos for Heroscape units, but I did not realize that the YouTube channel Doggin Days was already doing tier list videos with the same sort of style, in the sense of starting with master set, going to expansion, and going through them that way throughout the releases in order, just like what I'm doing. So I apologize. I did not mean to steal that idea. I just thought it would be a good way to go about it. But that being said, definitely go and check out his videos because they're really good, and you can see how me and him might differ on how we rank these units. In addition to that, some people brought it to my attention in the comments that there is already a Heroscape unit tier ranking system, but that's basically, how these figures stack up in the competitive scene, something that I've never been a part of because I don't have any sort of competitive tournament anywhere near me. I never have. And I'm not. They also rank them all against each other for all releases, whereas I'm only ranking the figures of each release against each other. Uh, Also, I don't think I need any more than S, A, B, C, F for the tiers. I think that's plenty. So just know that this system that I am using is just my own personal opinion. This is not supposed to correlate with this like meta ranking system of how good units are and all this. I'm basing it off of a lot more factors than just their playability and the how good the unit is. I'm also basing off of how they look, how cool they are, things like that. So, with that being said, this is my next tier list, which is the expansion release 1, which is called Malliddon's Prophecy, Wave 1 expansion from 2004, just after the release of Rise of the Valkyrie. And let's begin. Alright, here we go. Time for another tier list. Now I'm going to preface this with I never got any of these figures. At the time that this expansion came out, I was very young, and all I had was the Master Set 1. I didn't even know there were expansions to the game. I thought that was just the game that you go and buy at Walmart, just like any other game, take it home and play it. At that point in my life, I had never even heard of a game like this with all these expansions and everything. So this is very cool when I found out that, wow, this is a whole big thing with tons of expansions and different figures to get and everything. Somehow, I do happen to have this figure. Never mind. He's from a different one. Nope, I never got any of these figures. So this is a first time look for me, aside from maybe just a couple times that I played the game against some friends that had some of these figures. But really, I'm going into this blind with no prior knowledge of these figures. And our first one is the Arrow Gruts. And so this is something you'll see with Heroscape. This is the whole design of the game, which makes it very cool. All of these different units and stuff that are going to come out with the expansion are actually they're designed in a way to work with different characters. And of course, this is to get you to buy different expansions and stuff. But it would be so cool if I did get these when I was young. Just to have an army of orcs would be awesome. But all I have is Grimnack and the Swag Rider, and the ones that came in the warriors, heavy gruts. But yeah, this is our first one for Utgar, Arrow Gruts. And they have 1 life each, 3 figures to the card, move 6, range 6, attack 1, and defense 1. Pretty rough stats already, being that they only have attack and defense 1, but they do have that 6 range. They're only worth 40 points, so you could just fill out your army if you're, 40 points short. But their abilities contain Beast Bonding, before taking a turn with arrow gruts, you may first take a turn with any beast you control. This type of ability is pretty common in Heroscape, and something like this is pretty good for a 40-point unit to have that ability to take effectively 2 turns in one. I mean, that's actually pretty good. And they have disengage. Arrow gruts are never attacked when leaving an engagement. That's pretty good too, considering they only have 1 life. And if they were to disengage normally, they would just get killed instantly by leaving an engagement if they didn't have that ability. So, pretty bad unit aside from that beast bonding. I feel like that brings it up a couple points. And again, the cool factors there. These are Lord of the Rings style orcs. I'm gonna put them at B tier. I almost feel like they're good enough with the beast bonding to not be C tier, but I might move them down if we don't see anything worse. We'll see. Alright, real quick, gotta throw an ad into the video since this channel is not monetized, and I would love to sell my novel that I've recently written and published. So please go and check that out on Amazon.com. It's available in hardcover, paperback, and ebook. It is called The Price of Renewal. This is a fantasy novel, similar style to any of the classics that we all love. If you love Heroscape or Dungeons and Dragons or any of this sort of fantasy, big fantasy world with different species of characters and all these things and magic, this is definitely a good one for you to check out. It is $20 paperback, $30 hardcover, and only $5 in ebook format. So please go ahead and check that out. The link is in the description, and let's get back to the video. I think every video, at least one unit gets an honorary F tier nomination for being my least favorite. But this one, the next card, is Venic Vipers. And again, there's no order to these. I'm just slapping them on here and doing it. Venic Vipers, 3 to the card, 1 life each. Move 7, pretty good move there. Range 1, attack 3, but defensive 0. So if these guys get attacked, they're just donezo. 40 points. Their ability Slither is whenever Venic Vipers do not have to stop their movement when entering water spaces. Okay. Cool, I guess. I mean, Frenzy. After you take a turn with Venic Vipers, roll the 20-sided die. If you roll a 16 or higher, you may take another turn with Venic Vipers. I think this is an instant F. I don't see the utility in this. I mean, sure, you could like move them up, move them through the water, move them up, and just get some quick attacks on people. But if the opponent has ranged figures, they're just gonna shoot them once and kill them. I mean, they're like practically useless with 0 defense. That's got to be one of the worst units I've ever seen, to be honest. That's an instant F without any doubt about it. I don't understand how that's even useful. I mean, they're 40 points. Like, maybe you could just have a giant army of them and just run in an attack over and over. But again, like, the enemy's just going to pick them off like it's nothing. Alright, I got high hopes for these ones. We got Roman archers here. And another one that would be so cool if I had these. You know, I never got them when I was young, and I'm not going to be able to afford them now. So they're way too. All these old ones are way too expensive. But these guys are 3 to a card as well, 1 life. They have a move of 4, about as low as the Airborne Elite. A range of 6, attack 2, and a defense of only 1. These are pretty weak too. They have Arrow Volley, a special attack with range 6, attack 6. That's sounding pretty good so far. 3 unengaged adjacent Roman archers on the same level may combine their attacks and roll their attack dice as one attack. All Roman archers in their arrow volley must have a clear line of sight of the one target. I was about to say they're pretty terrible, but that arrow volley special attack is pretty useful. Only thing is they only get one attack rather than 3, but it's much more powerful. And that certainly makes them better than the Vipers. I can see the utility in this, but my high hopes, they're not as good as I thought, and I think they're probably going to be C tier. Definitely not as good as the Grut Archers, Arrow Gruts, considering those guys get to take an extra turn with another figure. But now we're moving on to one of the Kyrie Warriors, which is Kelda. I always saw this one on Heroscapers.com and just thought the paint job was so interesting, which obviously fits Jondar, but just bold colors, a lot like the Omnicron or the new Frost Claws. But here we have 5 life, move 6, range 1, attack 2, defense 3, only worth 80 points, flying, and a very complex ability here, which I'm going to read, which is Healing Touch. After moving and before attacking, choose a wounded hero figure adjacent to Kelda. Then roll the 20-sided die to add or remove wound markers from the chosen figure's card. If you roll 1, add 2 markers. If you roll 2 through 5, remove 1 marker. If you roll 6 through 17, remove up to 2 markers. If you roll 18 through 20, remove all markers. Wow. That's an interesting one. Her attack is terrible. Her defense is not good. But that Healing Touch has some utility. It's a little strange that you can roll low enough. It's only if you roll a 1. It's pretty unlikely. But if you do, it's still a downside. You have to add wound markers to your guy. And that's not going to be useful trying to use that against an enemy, because surely you're going to, statistically speaking, you're going to heal the enemy. So, I mean, it's pretty good for the healing factor. Like, there's a good chance you're going to remove 2 wound markers, which is pretty good. And even a chance you'll remove all of them. So I do think that ability brings her up to at least B tier and almost even A tier. But I'm assuming we're going to have some better figures here, so I'm going to put her in B tier for now. Okay, now we have another Viper, and I do not have high hopes for this after seeing the last one. But this is the Venic Warlord. 6 life, can move 7 spaces, range of 1, attack 4, defense 3. So now we have some at least regular stats. He costs 120 points, which back then was like a decent amount. Scout leadership. All scouts you control can move an additional 2 spaces, and I'm guessing these other Vipers must be scouts. Yes, they are. Okay, so they can get to move like 9 spaces then. He has Frenzy Enhancement. Add 1 to your die roll when you roll for the Frenzy power on any army card. And we learned that the Frenzy power is that okay, they get to take a second turn. So if you pair them with the Warlord, they're a little better, but I'm not pulling them out of F tier, because you basically have to have this guy on your team to make them even worthwhile, and I'm pretty sure you had to get him from buying another expansion. But yeah, so if you have that, you can take a second turn with these guys by using Frenzy, or at least you have a higher chance, but you still have to roll a 15 or higher. I mean, that's crazy. Like, nah, they're still F tier, and that power doesn't make this guy that much better. So, and his slither ability is just moving through water, but frenzy enhancement with scout leadership. No. That sucks. This guy is not good. No. These Vipers are complete garbage. I don't know. I don't think anyone would even play these. I'll put him in C tier just because he makes the other Vipers a little bit better, but pretty awful, to be honest. Next we have the Roman Legionnaires. 4 to a card. 1 life each. They move 4, range of 1, attack 3, defense 2, 50 points. Warlord Bonding. Before taking a turn with Roman Legionnaires, you may first take a turn with any warlord you control. Now that's a lot more versatile than the Viper situation. Any warlord can get a turn. In addition, if you take a turn with these guys, you effectively get to take 2 turns. That's good. And they have Shield Wall. When defending with a Roman Legionnaire, add 1 defense die for each other adjacent Roman Legionnaire up to a maximum of 2 additional dice for the Shield Wall power. So, as long as they're all together, they get 4 defense. I mean, this is a pretty good unit for only 50 points. Definitely going to put them in B tier. Maybe even A tier. I can see that being very useful. And their Warlord Bonding is basically like Beast Bonding on these guys. So they deserve to be on the same tier. In fact, these ones, I would argue... Oh yeah. I would say these guys are better than the Arrow Gruts. For sure. Actually, that's not even a question. Based on what we've gone over so far, these guys are A tier. For sure. But now we have Blade Gruts, which are, sorry. How did I don't know, I messed up the card, but that's okay. 4 to a card, 1 life, move 6, range 1, attack 2, defense 20, and they only cost 40 points. Now, 40 points for 4 figures... That's pretty good. They have Orc Champion Bonding. Before taking a turn with them, you can first take a turn with an Orc Champion you control. Now, I'm trying to think of what Orc Champions there are. I guess there's Grimnack and some others. But so they get another Beast Bonding, Warlord Bonding type of deal. But they're less good than the Roman Legionnaires because the Roman Legionnaires can be any Warlord. These guys have to be an Orc Champion. And then they just have Disengage. So they're pretty good, but they are not A tier. In fact, I don't even think they're as good as the Arrow Gruts. I would put the Blade Gruts. I mean, they have the cool factor. Look at the Lord of the Rings orcs there. But maybe C tier on those ones. Alright, now we got the big, scary, satanic-looking dude himself. Taylord the Kyrie Warrior. I almost just thought that was Utgar himself. He has 5 life, moves 5, range 1, attack 3, defense 3, but he's worth 180 points, which back then, that's a ridiculous amount of points. He has flying... But he also has Attack Aura, which is a power we've seen before. All figures you control within 4 clear sight spaces of Taylord get +1 to attack. Taylord's Attack Aura does not affect Taylord. Alright. Now, I might need to check this. Thorin the Viking Champion? Is that what his name is? Yeah, Thorgrim. Because Thorgrim's Aura, I think they have to be adjacent, if I'm not mistaken. And if that's the case... Oh, sorry, we need Finn. Finn's the Attack Aura one. I think they have to be adjacent to him. If that's the case, that effectively makes this guy... Yes, adjacent. So that effectively makes this guy way more powerful than Finn the Viking Champion, because he has 4 clear sight spaces for the aura. So he's going up to A tier, if not S tier. I mean, that's really good. You just keep him within the general area of your offensive units. And I mean, I don't know. He might be S tier. Also for the cool factor. Look at that. That might be an S tier for this video. I'll put him there, but if someone comes up that's better, we'll drop him to A tier. The next one is the Omicron Snipers. 3 to a card, 1 life, 5 move, range 7, attack 1, which is terrible, defense 3. 100 points for these guys, which means something's gotta be their ability must make them better, because that attack 1's pretty rough. When attacking with Omicron Snipers, all skulls rolled count for 1 additional hit. Okay. That doesn't seem that powerful, but there's another unit that came out in later years that had a similar ability to that, and it can be very devastating. Especially you roll 2 skulls, that counts for 4. So they're pretty good, but with the 1 attack, I don't know. I think if they had 2 attack, I would say, yeah, that's insane. But these guys, I can't justify them being above B tier, to be honest. Alright, the next one is Marcus Decimus Gallus. This guy, from what I've seen on the internet, is like one of the best from what I understand, and we will find out. He has 6 life, he moves 5, range 1, attack 3, defense 3, 100 points. He has soldier leadership. All soldiers you control move 1 additional space, so there's a lot of versatility with that. There's lots of soldiers in Heroscape, so you can get some extra movement. And he has soldier attack enhancement. All friendly soldiers adjacent to him receive an additional attack die. And again, there's a lot of soldiers in Heroscape, and a lot of them are ranged units. So you can just have a moving mob of people with him following behind or leading, but be at a distance from the enemy, and they're just constantly getting plus attack. I can definitely see the versatility in that, and that might be S tier. I understand why he's viewed as one of the best ones, but this attack aura I think is more effective, honestly. Let me reread this. This is good because of the versatility of all the soldiers and like increasing their movement and that, but this guy can give all figures you control within 4 sight spaces an additional die. I don't think he's better than Taylord, honestly. I know that something that affects this is like, you know, the units you're gonna have on your army and stuff too, but I gotta put Taylord at the top. Am I saying his name right? Taylord, yes. Alright, our last one that we have is Tornak. Not Grimnak, Tornak. He's riding the Velociraptor from Jurassic World. And I guess that's Chris Pratt on top of his Velociraptor friend. I mean, this is all cool. Like, the cool factors there, you got an orc riding a dinosaur, but this is a small dinosaur. It's definitely not as cool as Grimnak. But he has 3 life, 7 move, range 1, attack 4, defense 5. That's pretty good stats for only 100 points. He has disengage. We know what that does already. You won't get a opportunity attack against him when he leaves an engagement. And he has Orc Warrior Enhancement. All friendly Orc Warriors adjacent to him receive an additional attack die and an additional defense die. That's a double aura. That's really good, especially if you have a bunch of orcs. But it's a little less versatile because you have to be playing a bunch of orcs. His stats, though, themselves are quite good. I think that's S tier. I don't know. I mean, he gives attack bonus and defense bonus, and he himself has good attack and a defense. That's got to be S tier. I don't know. I think that's it. I think that's our tier list. Taylor and what's his name? Chris Pratt, Tornak is the S tier. That's my opinion. People are gonna argue this because at least from what I see, this guy is the guy on the internet. From what I understand, Marcus Decimus Gallus. But I don't know anything about the competitive scene. I have not been a part of it, and so I cannot speak to that effect. I am not claiming to have educated opinions here. I am just basing it off of reading the card. I don't know all this special tactic stuff that comes into play when you're doing a tournament. So cut me a little bit of slack, alright? That's my tier list for Wave 1, which is called... Man, I can never... Malliddon's Prophecy. I can never remember the name of it. And that's that. Once again, like and comment. If you got stuff to say about it, go ahead, comment and correct me. And that way, I will know. And if I start playing Heroscape competitively, then I will know. And I will be better for it. So, please go ahead and, correct my mistakes. And if you enjoyed the tier list video, leave a comment. And I will continue to make them as long as they're being received well. So, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe. Go check out my other videos. Check out Doggin Day's channel, who also is doing the same thing. And see how our opinions differ. Thank you again, and have a good one.